joy. It's one of my favorite topics. I would love to have a bit more joy in our lives, and it's something that we can access Jin Shin Jyutsu with the simple, easy practices where you can use them anytime, anywhere. In today's session, I'll do a little bit of an introduction to Jin Shin Jyutsu, and then we get to the good part, the self-care, because we can all help ourselves. This morning, I was dealing with some technical issues, and I said, oh, I need to go access some joy. So this is a picture from my walk this morning. And being out in the sunshine, because it is sunshiny here in Ireland today, and just seeing the birds and the trees and the children playing, it just made me smile. So I hope that you have a place near you today that you can go and experience some joy as well. Just to start off, one of the things that I've found a lot of times is that when I'm going through my day, I get so busy and I don't check in with myself, with my body, with my being. And I could be running 1,000,000 miles an hour and have a sore back and not realize it because I'm tense and I'm thinking about other things. So I invite you now to check in with your being. How are you feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally? Maybe you're like the dark green emoji man, where everything's brilliant and you just are having the best day. You might also be more like the orange emoji, where you're having some challenges and you're not feeling great. So just make a note for yourself. The core tenet of Jin Shin Jyutsu is to know ourselves and to harmonize our being. So I invite you to start by holding your little finger. You don't have to press or massage. You don't have to hold it in a certain way. You don't have to hold it up by your shoulders. You can put it in your lap and just relax. So I invite you to hold that during the time that we're sharing Jin Shin Jyutsu and to see if you notice any change. The topic today is joy, and one of my favorite memories is being down on the beach and just seeing the children playing in the water and just enjoying themselves. I can't go to the beach every day, so I need to access joy in other ways. And I can do that through gratitude. I find that by just paying attention and jotting down a few things every night, I try to do 3 things. And what that shows me and helps me to pay attention to is that there are good things in every day. A friend once said to me, they might not all be good days, but there's good in every day. So by having that gratitude practice, I can focus on the 3 good things and notice more good things, as well as possibly the 20 bad things that happen that day. Changing the focus, broadening the perspective. Another pathway to joy is through laughter. A friend of mine is a laughter wellness facilitator or leader. And she's telling me about the joys of laughter and how much it benefits us. And we all feel better if we have a good laugh, whether we're having a good laugh with a friend or a family member, or maybe we're watching a silly show on Netflix and we just laugh and we know that we feel better. It was really interesting though when my friend told me that by laughing, we actually change our body chemistry. So it can help us to be better and feel better. And if you think about it, children laugh, I think it's 600 times a day. Adults tend to laugh 4 times a day. So I'd like to reconnect with more laughter and to help myself in that way. And then of course, I'm going to share with you some tips of how you can have that pathway to joy. Reconnect with your joy through Jin Shin Jyutsu. Because when we don't have joy, we're not well, we're not in harmony, and it's becoming more and more common to have people suffer with depression and anxiety. I was reading a study the other day, and the statistics are alarming. 1 in 4 of us, or 27% of people in Ireland, are suffering from depression during the COVID times. That's just, it's so disheartening. So I really want to make a contribution and help people to access their joy. A client of mine, her daughter was suffering with depression and anxiety, and they were really struggling. The mom, she couldn't fix it for her daughter because the daughter had to find a way to heal herself. And she went to doctors and she got treatments, and she's doing much better. As I was working with the mother, though, it's one of those things where she was sharing with me the pain and the tension and the disharmony that she felt in her body. And I helped her to reconnect with the joy. I found it very interesting, too, how she was accessing other supports. She and her family access supports from Pieta House here in Ireland. And they do such amazing work there. They help people to rebuild their lives. And just as a small contribution, I'd like to make a donation to Pieta House. So anyone who books a session with me or books into a workshop with me, I will give a 10% of that money, 10 euros of the cost of that session or workshop, and donate that to Pieta House. And I'll give you a receipt for that as well, because I think we all can make a big difference in other people's lives, and that's a small way. So Jin Shin Jyutsu, one of my favorite topics. There's 2 pictures here. There's a very staunch Japanese gentleman, Jiro Murai. He is the one who is the founder of this art. Back in the early 20th century, he was suffering from a terminal illness, and he basically went off to meet his maker. He went into isolation and he expected to die. He spent 7 days holding his hands and breathing, and he was healed. He was so impressed with it that he devoted the rest of his life to developing the art, studying the body, understanding the pathways in it, and sharing that knowledge. One of his key students, we're very blessed, brought this art from Japan to the Western world. Mary Burmeister extended the knowledge and shared with us many ways that we can help ourselves. So even though this is ancient wisdom, it has very modern applications. And you can see that because the meridians, the energetic pathways in our body, are very similar to the meridians from traditional Chinese medicine. And those are used by reflexologists, acupuncturists, and many complementary therapists. So we have good evidence that using Jin Shin Jyutsu on yourself, and if you receive sessions from a practitioner, can help you feel better and to be better. So the core tenet is self-care. And that's what really drew me to Jin Shin Jyutsu. I felt so much better receiving sessions. And when we're not feeling well, we can go to practitioners who can help us to improve our energies and to harmonize our bodies. And it's just such a wonderful experience. It's very relaxing. It's very gentle. So much so that I was taught that when you're treating a client and you have your hand on their body, it should be a light enough touch that someone could have a piece of paper between the trousers of your client and your hand, and that you could actually pull the paper out without disturbing the client or the practitioner. So it's a very gentle art. And when you do go in to have a session, normally people fall asleep, and that's okay because the energy is still working there's an innate wisdom in our bodies to help heal ourselves. And that innate wisdom extends to when you are doing self-care, when you're putting your own hands on your bodies. If you use the safety energy locks and the hands, they can help you to harmonize your energy. So now on to the good stuff. I'm going to share with you 3 types of tips that are self-care. The first are to do with your hands. The second are safety energy locks that are located on your body. I'll tell you a little bit more about that. They can help you to access joy and creativity. And then the third type of tip that I'm going to share with you today is a specific hand position called a mudra. So I don't know if you're still holding your little finger. You can let it go, shake your hands out if you need to. The 2 hand finger poses that I'm going to ask you to hold today is to hold your ring finger, because that helps us to connect to our joy by easing sadness. It also helps us have clear breathing, really important during the pandemic times. It's also important to those of us who suffer from hay fever and seasonal allergies. It will help you to breathe more clearly. And then the other benefit that I'm going to highlight with you today is that it supports positive thoughts. So all that by holding your ring finger. And you can hold your right or your left or just one, whatever works best for you. We already have experienced a bit of holding our little finger. The reason why we do that in relation to joy is because it eases our efforting or trying to, when we have pretense of trying to be a certain way, it can really strain our bodies, our minds, and our emotions. So if we can release that efforting, it's better for us on so many levels, because when we are struggling in that way, it's a strain on our body. So if we can release that, it helps with our longevity. And at the same time, it also helps us to be more calm in our thoughts. So those are the fingers that I'm suggesting that you hold to increase your access to joy or opening to joy. And then the safety energy locks. We have 52 of those on our bodies that are recognized. And there's 26 on the left and 26 on the right, and they're located throughout our bodies, from our head to our toes. Each of these safety energy locks helps our being in certain ways. So the one that I'm going to focus on today is safety energy lock 15, which is right in the middle. You can see here on the picture that I've shown, my camera's a little bit too high, but if you have your hands at the top of your thighs, just where you bend when you sit down, this is safety energy lock 15. And if you're wearing trousers, you could put your hands in your pockets, an easy way to do it. I've chosen the picture of the healthcare worker today to demonstrate this because I'm so grateful for all the work that they're doing to help us through this pandemic and to help us be well in general. So when we hold our 15s, that allows us to wash our hearts with laughter. And I've already shared with you how laughter can be an opening to joy. This area on our body helps also to bring mental peace, security, and helps us to be more creative. The other thing that it does is, if you think about it, your hands are at the top of your legs. So this can help with leg tension and leg stress. If you've had a long day and your legs are really tired, maybe put your feet up and put your hands on your 15s. The third type of tip that I'm sharing with you today is the specific hand position called the mudra. There's 8 of these in Jin Shin Jyutsu. And this is the penultimate one. You can practice any of them together or separately. And by placing our our middle finger, the nail beds together, a little bit tricky to do, I have to focus on this, that helps us to receive abundance. And it's just the two middle fingers that come together. The other fingers stay upright, kind of as a guard around those middle fingers. When I was first learning Jin Shin Jyutsu, I couldn't hold my hands like this. My hands were very sore and stiff. And over time, I've become more able to hold this position, and I've come to like it. But when I first started, I didn't like this position. I was all grumpy about it. But what I found is it helps us to receive abundance, to inhale more easily. It eases our fatigue. And another benefit is that it eases tension in our backs. So lots of good things that you can have from this. And when you're practicing Jin Shin Jyutsu, there's so many pathways to wellness and well-being, and as an opening to joy. You could do any of these options and still have benefits. Or you could do them all, depending on what your mood is that day. So just to check in with yourself again, do you remember the emojis from the beginning when I first asked you to start holding your hands? And do you remember how you felt and where you were physically and mentally and emotionally? And where are you now? Are you in about the same place, or have things changed? I know for me, I wasn't feeling wonderful 20 minutes ago, but I'm feeling much better now. So I've moved from the light green man to the dark green man, and I have a big grin. So this is a way that we can open to joy. And I just have this image because joy to me is a lot about creativity. And creativity is a big part of Jin Shin Jyutsu. Because when we practice Jin Shin Jyutsu, so I hope you enjoyed today. And my key takeaways for today, the first one is that you can help yourself anytime, anywhere. If you're holding your index, or your little finger, you can do that on a bus. You can do it when you're talking to a friend. You can do it if you're watching the news. You can do it pretty much anytime. And it's going to help improve your well-being. If you'd like these tips and you'd like to have them printed on a piece of paper, I'd be happy to send them to you. Just send me a note. You can email me, jackie@energyflows.ie, or you can message me on my website or on other forms of social media, Facebook and Instagram. And if you've really enjoyed this and you'd like to experience more and to learn more, you'd be very welcome to book a session or a self-care workshop with me. And if you're doing that, please remember to put the Pieto code in so that we can make the donation and help support their great work.